All right, how's it going, Pallas fam? I am here because we're going to talk about what the gym's plan is for when all of this kind of starts to reopen, what our thoughts are. We're going to talk through a whole lot of stuff today. So first off, I just want to bring the camera close and zoom in on this board just so that you guys can kind of see, and you can pause the video if you like, and you can read through it before we start to talk through it all. We're going to be here for like half an hour though, so kind of buckle up. So what we're going to go through today is there's two things that we need to talk about. So first off, at the top is what New York is doing. So what the state of New York is allowing us to do, what their protocols are, and what their phased reopening looks like, because we can't act any further than they allow us. So for those of you guys that haven't been, watching Cuomo's news briefings every day, stuff like that, I want to talk through that first. And then we're going to go through basically what is the gym's phase one, what is the gym's phase two, and then I didn't write it down, but we do have a phase three as well, but that's essentially normalcy. So, all right. So now let's get into this. So a couple things first. I alluded to it just a second ago. We are at the mercy of New York State. So we can make all the smart decisions that we want, and we are making we're going to take as many precautions as we can. We're going to make every smart decision that we can with our team and with any relevant information and facts to make sure that we open up safely. But we have to wait until New York allows us to open before we can even think about implementing our plans. So a couple things before we talk about New York State. When we reopen the gym, it's going to have to be a team effort as far as not only our staff working as hard as we can to make sure that you guys stay safe, you keep staying fit, and we can all enjoy being in the gym together with this community. But it's going to be imperative that you guys do your part as well. And that's going to come down to social distancing, and that's going to come down to making sure that we clean up after ourselves. So we need to be in this together, or this isn't going to work, and we're not going to be able to stay open safely. So what we want to do is really kind of level set expectations for what we expect of you guys and for what you guys can expect of us. So first things first, New York State is opening up in 4 phases. So phase 1 is supposed to start on the 15th. So this Friday. This video is being filmed on Tuesday, the 11th, whatever that is. Anyway, Tuesday. So phase 1 is essential manufacturing and essential construction. We don't fall into that category. Phase 2 is 14 days behind phase 1. So that would put it on about May 29th. Phase 2 is professional services and some other things that I can't remember off the top of my head. But this is all online. So if you Google New York reopening, it'll give you the kind of the breakdown of what's in each category. So we don't fall into phase 2. Phase 3 is essentially hospitality. So it's a lot of the hospitality industry. So hotels opening back up. The theory so far from people who are smart and understand what the government is doing, stuff like that, is that in phase 3, which should be about June 14th, that hotels will be allowed to open their gyms, their spas, their restaurants, and a lot of their facilities on site. So boutique gyms or micro gyms, which is what we are, would theoretically, we may fall into that category. So we may be able to start our reopening procedures on June 14th. We don't know that. The 4th phase, which is June 29th, thereabout, is arts and recreation, and basically the last of the last non-essential services. Obviously, we believe that health and fitness is very much an essential service and an essential part of people's lives, and we believe that the service that we're offering is, life-saving. So we don't believe we fall into this phase, but it's also not our decision. So we have to follow what the higher powers are saying. So basically what it all comes down to is we are going to fall into phase 3 or phase 4. So the earliest that we will be allowed to open our doors based on current information as of right now, so as of Tuesday, is June 14th or June 29th. That's the earliest that we could potentially open our doors and have some kind of physical location going on. What we saw this week, so on Monday, so yesterday, Governor Cuomo announced what businesses very specifically fall into phase one. So essentially with a 5-day lead-in period, he seems to be letting us know who exactly can open up during that next phase. So hopefully he will do the same for phase two, and hopefully he will do the same for phase three. So what that would mean is that if phase three is supposed to start on June 14th, hopefully sometime around June 10th or June 11th, we would get a list of specific businesses that would be allowed to open for that phase. And if we're included in that, we will let you guys know, and we will let you know what date we would start implementing our phase one. But like I said, we don't control that. So as much as it's definitely frustrating for us and frustrating for our staff, because we want to be in the gym, we want to provide you guys with fitness and community and coaching and camaraderie and all these awesome things. Again, we don't get to choose that. So that's New York. So that is the bigger picture, what we are being told right now and what we are being allowed to do. All of that can change. So depending on how the spread continues, depending on how the infection rates go, all that stuff during phase one, phase two, phase three, things can change. So these are the dates that have been announced to us as of right now. So as of Tuesday, this might change tomorrow. This might change in the next week, 2 weeks. So my plan is to give you guys an update sometime around phase two. So sometime around the end of May, I'll do another one of these videos based off of what is being told to us by the state of New York and what by the local government. And I'll do another one sometime around the middle of June. So hopefully around June 10th or 11th, based on what we are told then as far as who can open, things like that. So that's what you guys can kind of expect from our team over the next few weeks. Now, let me grab a glass of water real quick because this is about to get talky. So, now, let's start to talk about what the gym is going to look like when it reopens. Because as we all know right now, things are not going to be normal for a little while. So the gym's not going to be normal for a while. We're not going to go back to 25-person classes, high fives, hugs, multiple staff in the facility at a time, open gym whenever you like. All those things that we know and love, they're going to have to wait a little bit. So here is our phase one, so our first phase of reopening, based on current information. Again, this might change. So don't, this isn't set in stone. Based off of what happens over the next few weeks and any new precautions that come out with regards to social distancing, cleanliness, things like that, this may change. And so just keep in mind that, again, this is current as of right now and right now only. So I've broken this down into essentially 6 categories. So we have the schedule at the gym, what that's going to look like. We have the physical space and what that will kind of entail, things that fall into that category. We have some staffing concerns that we'll be bringing up to you guys. We have our cleanliness protocols that we're going to go through. We have our programming and remote operations. So basically how we're going to divide up, what we're doing physically and what we're doing remotely, which is what we're currently doing. And then we have our equipment stuff, because obviously we don't have any equipment in the gym right now. It's all out on loan to you guys. So this is in no order. These just happen to be the order I wrote them down in. So we're going to start with the schedule, and then we're going to basically work our way across the board. So the plan when the gym reopens is we are going to reopen Monday through Friday. We're not going to have any hours on the weekends because, as you guys know, Saturday is insanely busy and social distancing is basically impossible. And everybody needs work-life balance. So we are not going to be hosting anything on the weekends to start. So the gym will be open Monday through Friday, and it will be open in 3 blocks throughout that day. So the gym will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. The gym will be open from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it will be open from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Within those windows, there are going to be 1-hour blocks, and we're calling them 50-10 blocks within these times. The reason they're being called 50-10 is because at the top of the hour, so at 6 a.m. or at 7 a.m. or whatever it is, the coach is going to start a clock. That clock is going to run for 50 minutes. Our athletes have 50 minutes to warm up, work out, do whatever they want within the space, have at it. At the 50-minute mark, the clock will beep and everybody will have to stop. So whatever workout you're doing is going to be done, because the only way that we can reopen is if we can make sure that everything stays clean, and we can keep the gym as clean as humanly possible within the confines of it being a gym, to make sure that we can keep everybody safe. So at the 50-minute mark, everyone's done working out. And that 10-minute mark, so that 50-10, the 10 is going to be spent cleaning up your station, making sure that you wipe down all of your equipment, making sure that any machines that you used, a pull-up bar, the floor, everything has been cleaned. Our staff will help you. So obviously the coach on staff will be there to kind of help with this process. But again, we're going to need athletes to take care of themselves, because that's the only way that we can have the gym open for long periods of time. If the coaches are doing all of the cleaning, we'll have to be closed for an hour for every hour that we're open. And that's just not going to allow enough people to get in the gym, and it's not realistic. So you'll have those hour blocks broken up, 50-10, and you will have to pre-register for those, no exceptions. So you will only be allowed in the gym if you have pre-registered and you have a spot. So if a block is full, you'll be on a wait list. If you show up and you are on a wait list, you will not be allowed in, because again, we are strictly capping the number of the number of athletes who can be in the gym at any given time to 14 people. Based on how big our space is, 14 people being in the space at one time will give more than enough room for appropriate social distancing. We'll be able to have 10 feet or more between athletes and their stations. So you will be very, very distant from the people around you. So we're not going to be worried about any bodily fluids, any transmission, things like that. We're going to have plenty of space. So that's the reason that signing up beforehand will be so important, because we need to make sure that we stick to that 14-person cap. We will reevaluate the schedule on a weekly basis. So, based on week to week, based on how attendances are going, based on what times people might need that we're not offering, a whole slew of factors, we will be reevaluating that schedule week to week, and we will be expanding, changing, condensing it based on how things are developing and how everything's going at the gym. When that happens, active memberships only will be allowed in the gym. And again, that's to not only from a business standpoint to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves, but to make sure that people are getting the value for their service. So if they're paying for access to the gym, they will have access to the gym. That being said, if you have lost your job due to COVID-19, or if you have experienced a pay cut or something like that, and you can't go back to paying a full membership right now, we are 100% willing to work with you. So again, we don't want to limit anybody from getting in the gym because they can't pay right now. So we can work out payment plans. We can we're very open to working with you guys individually. So again, if when we go to reopen, you really want to get back in the gym, but you can't afford it because of your current situation, we don't want that to be the limitation. So reach out to us. We will set up a payment plan. We'll spread the payments out over months, coming up, something like that. We'll figure out something that works. So again, we don't want to be restrictive. We just want to make sure that we're covering our bases, from a business standpoint. Also, this is a little bit of another category, but we will continue to host one Zoom class a day. So once we reopen, we are very well aware that there's going to be a significant portion of the membership that isn't comfortable coming back to the gym yet for whatever reason. We don't care what the reason is. If you're not comfortable coming back, that's fine. We want to continue to provide you guys value like we have been through the closings. So there will still be one Zoom class every day. It'll be in the morning, so it'll be 8 or 8:30 in the morning. The recording will be available. So if you're not comfortable coming to the gym, you will still have a remote option to participate in, and you'll be able to take that class throughout the day whenever you see fit, if you like. So that's the schedule. That's what's going to happen at the gym. Now, moving on to the next category, the physical spaces. So what everything's going to look like. First off, we will have the equipment laid out beforehand to make sure that things are appropriately socially distanced. Again, we're very lucky to have a very large facility, so doing so will be relatively easy with 14 people in the gym. So again, we will have essentially stations set up where you will have access, you will have a rower, you will have both a men's and a women's barbell, you will have an assortment of plates. You will have all of those things preset for you, and you are more than welcome to use other equipment. So if you want to use a bike erg, you're more than welcome to bring a bike erg over, bring it to your station, and you can set it up there. Or if you want to use a pull-up bar, you're more than welcome to wander from your station to a pull-up bar. The gym is going to be laid out to ensure social distancing, and there will be walkways so that we can, again, make sure that you're staying far enough apart from everybody that you can get safely from your station to a pull-up bar, or from your station to the rings, or to a rope, or whatever else you might want to use that isn't going to be confined to that square, essentially, that you have to work out in. So that's the first thing as far as how the space will be laid out. From there will be no community chalk. So again, that's just too easy of a way to have people congregating, sharing germs, sharing sweat, spit, cough, whatever else. It's just too easy. So there will be no community chalk. We're looking into potentially providing people with their own block of chalk. I don't know if there's enough of a chalk supply currently available in the world for us to do that, but you will basically have to bring your own chalk in some way, shape, or form, whether you buy your own, or like I said, whether we look into providing that. Stay tuned for what that might look like. You guys will not be sharing any equipment whatsoever, and you will use as little equipment as possible. So what I mean by that is, again, if you are going to use a bike erg, you have to bring it over to your station. You have to use it the entire time. No one else can use it. It's yours for the 50 minutes. And when you're done, you're obviously in charge of making sure that you wipe it down, it's fully cleaned out before you put it back in the corner, for whoever else may want to use it throughout the day. Same thing goes with a pull-up bar. You are going to use one pull-up bar the whole time. So again, you can communicate with people in your class. The coach will help facilitate this, but you're going to go from your workout station, walk a safe pathway to a pull-up bar. You'll use that same pull-up bar the whole workout, so that when you're done, that becomes part of your cleanup. You wipe down the pull-up bar, you'll clean up any sweat that's under it, stuff like that. Again, to ensure that cleanliness is as easy as possible for us to maintain and enforce. When we start, only the CrossFit space will be open, so only the CrossFit Pallas space will be open, but all of our members will be encouraged to come in there. So for people who are members at Pallas Fitness, we are going to have you work out in the CrossFit space, and that's largely due to staffing concerns and cleanliness concerns. The more spaces that we open, the more we have to clean, cleaning them becomes an issue. It spreads ourselves too thin. So right out of the gate, again, only the CrossFit space will be open. Pallas Fitness side will remain closed, but those members for Pallas Fitness will come into the CrossFit space and they will work out there. The locker rooms will be closed. So you will not be allowed to shower. You will not be allowed to store stuff in the locker rooms. We will not be congregating in the locker rooms. The toilets will obviously be open. So again, the doors will be propped open. You'll be able to go in, use the bathroom, wash your hands, all that good stuff. But you may not use the locker rooms for the purpose of a locker room. And again, that's just a cleanliness thing. I know it might inconvenience some of you guys that are going to work, but we're sorry, that's just a reality that we're probably going to have to live with for a little while. So after that, there will be no children in the space, so there will be no childcare classes, anything like that. Children will not be allowed to hang out in the kids area. Again, as far as cleaning up after them, maintaining the cleanliness of that, it's not something we're going to offer right off the bat. So again, we apologize for the inconvenience, but that's something that will be phased back in at a later date. When you come to the gym, bring only what you need. So again, don't bring your gym bag with all your assorted nonsense in it if you're not going to use the assorted nonsense. So bring into the gym only the equipment that is absolutely necessary, because again, we're not using the locker rooms. We're trying to minimize people gathering over by the cubbies. So bring what you need. You will bring it into the gym and you will put it in your workout square. So in your station, you'll put your gear down, your jump rope, your whatever else. So bring only what you need when you come to the gym. And lastly, the water fountain will not be able to be used. So you guys will have to bring your own water bottle pre-filled beforehand. Again, just as far as sharing germs, high contact spaces, things like that, we're not going to be allowing people to use the water fountain. So please make sure that you bring your own water or fluids when you come in to work out. So that's the physical space. Now, staffing. This staffing is not as much a concern for you guys, but we just wanted to be open and honest about kind of some of the reasons behind why we're doing what we're doing. So there will be one coach per block. to limit contact. So again, our coaches will be coaching. There will only be one coach in the space responsible for coaching during that time. We will be opening foundations. So again, if people are looking to join the gym and join the community, foundation sessions will be happening. We're going to be opening up, coaches will be allowed to do personal training again. That will all open back up, and it will happen in the side room. So in the foundations room, that transit room, and there will be a limit of 2 clients at a time in there. So a coach and their client, maintaining proper social distancing. So we have foundations people, things like that coming in. They will be in that side room where the transit room is, and they will be, kind of cordoned off there so that they're not affecting the flow in the space as far as number of athletes in there, things like that. Next up, and again, this is just kind of one of the reasons why, is that the schedule that we're going to be able to offer as far as going back to our full normal class schedule will be limited. As far as summer programs for kids are limited, daycares are closed or running on limited capacities, schools are closed. While all these things are still happening, we are a small business, and a lot of our coaches and a lot of our staff do have children. So we need to make sure that we're not only treating our members well, but that we're treating our staff well. So we're going to be walking a line as far as what we can offer and what everybody needs. And we're going to be trying to find a happy middle ground to make sure that, again, people aren't being overburdened as far as, if they don't have access to childcare right now, if their kids are at home with them, they're working with their spouse or something like that to figure out when they can leave the house, things like that. So just kind of keep in mind that is a large driving factor behind what we are doing as a business. That, and then, talking about this, a little bit of new coaching. So our coaches will be coaching you the same way that we always do. That being said, because we are going to be doing an open gym format, we're not going to be hosting classes. And the reason behind this, we're going to talk about programming in a little bit. So we'll talk about why in this in more detail. Because people that are in the gym during that 1 hour block may all be doing different workouts. So that's why we're not going to be leading a specific class, because people will be free to choose from the workouts for that week what they want to come to the gym for. So again, more details on that later, and more details on why we're doing that. So coaching will be a little different. So it'll be a little bit kind of like Thursdays, where the coach will be there, we'll be walking around, we'll be interacting with you guys, we can give you progressions, we'll be giving you feedback, we'll be giving you all the value that coaching provides, but it's going to be in a little bit of a different format, because we're not going to be leading classes right out of the gate. And again, a lot of that comes back to the equipment rental loans that we have currently out to our members right now, and basically people wanting to or not wanting to come into the gym. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more kind of towards the end here. Now, as far as cleanliness goes, obviously this is a big one. So making sure that we keep both our athletes and the gym clean as humanly possible for an area that has traffic. So what we're looking at, all the doors will be propped open. So from the main doors to the space, to the doors into the facility, to the bathrooms, etc., they'll all be propped open so that you don't have to touch them, so that you're not actually making any contact with them. Again, just to minimize those high contact surfaces and those surfaces where the coronavirus can live for long periods of time. They now know, stainless steel surfaces, things like that. You will sanitize upon entry. So when you walk into the space, we will have hand sanitizer out there. You will, everyone required, when you come into the space, you have to sanitize your hands. We'll have multiple pump stations out there, things like that. So we've ordered a lot of hand sanitizer, so we should have plenty for the near future. Also, when you come in, you will check yourself in on your phone. So on the Tribe app, you can very easily check yourself into a class. And if you don't know how to do that, we can show you. Or if you don't have your phone on you or whatever, the coach will check you in at the tablet screen. So again, our athletes will not be touching the check-in screen, just again to avoid high contact surfaces. So you will either check in from your phone. So again, you have to pre-register for class, and then you will check in on your phone. You will do it. Or if you can't, or for whatever reason, tell the coach and they will check you in. They can do that from their phone, from the admin side, or they can do it on the touchscreen. Again, we talked about this earlier. This is going to be a mutual effort. So our athletes must take responsibility for their share of the load as well. Again, we can't have just coaches cleaning, because it's not feasible for keeping the gym open and keeping things operating. So what that means is that we really need you guys to employ social distancing. We need you to clean up after yourselves vigorously and attentively. You have to do your part. And if you're not doing your part, we will call you out on it. And if you're not doing your part, we may ask you to not come to the gym, or whatever we have to do to make sure that we are doing what has to be done to keep the broader community safe. So to help keep the gym as a whole safe and keep everybody coming to the gym and enjoying what we have to offer in the physical space. So again, we just really need you guys adhering to these protocols, cleaning up after yourselves, wiping down your station, sanitizing your hands on the way in, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, the gym will also have significantly increased cleaning procedures. We're still in the process of laying those out, what that looks like. But basically, when the gym closes during each of those blocks, so when the gym closes for the morning, the midday, and the evening block, the coaches will do additional cleaning on top of what the athletes have already done to make sure that things stay as clean as humanly possible. So wiping down high contact surfaces, cleaning the floor, things like that. So that'll be a part of it as well. This is incredibly important. Stay home if you don't feel well. We try and do this every winter, every flu season. We want you guys to stay home. If you don't feel well, but now more than ever, it is incredibly important for you guys to stay home if you are even remotely symptomatic of coronavirus. Because again, going into a high traffic area, it's not the time to, oh, my throat's a little scratchy, I'll go to the gym anyway. No, stay home, do the home workout. Until you feel better. It is really important that you guys self-regulate a little bit in that sense. It's crucial to the health of our community and to the health of the Ithaca community that we continue to do that. And lastly, in addition to the wipes that we have, we've upgraded to a medical grade cleaner that will be available in spray bottles for each station. So there will be 14 spray bottles, one per station for each athlete in the gym. It will have a medical grade cleaner in it that will have certain dwell time, etc., to make sure that we are using the appropriate cleaning products, to make sure that things are actually getting cleaned. So, we're using the right things as far as that goes. So that's not it, but that's a lot of what the cleanliness, will kind of be looking like. Now let's talk about programming and remote operations, because they kind of go hand in hand. So when we reopen, programming will be the same that it is now. So we will be programming 6 days a week with a run day on Sunday. Because again, we realize that not all of our members will be comfortable coming into the gym, or you only want to come into the gym once or twice a week. So we want to make sure that we continue to offer people options for both at home and in the gym based on your schedule, based on your needs, based off of caring for a family member, not wanting to infect them, things like that. So that's the reason we're doing open gym style. That's the reason for the layout that we have it the way it is now. Is because we want to be able to provide people value both remotely and in a physical location. So what does that mean? It means that when you come into the gym, you're going to come into the gym with a workout in mind, picked from the 6 workouts that are that week. So you may be doing things out of order, and that's fine. But so let's say, there's Toast to Bar programmed, and you really want to come into the gym and you want to do Toast to Bar. You'll pick the workout that has Toast to Bar in it for that week, and you can go ahead and you'll do that workout. Someone else might want to use a barbell. They might want to do some weightlifting. So we want to give you guys options as far as what you can do when you come into the space. Knowing that people may only come in once or twice a week. Some people may come in more frequently. We want to provide you guys options. And we'll obviously be reevaluating that based off of what percentage of our membership is coming into the gym, things like that, kind of as we go along. So that's the programming piece. We will continue with the one-on-one check-ins. So we'll keep doing, for any of you guys that are signed up for those remote check-in or those FaceTime check-ins with our coaches, we will keep doing that. So those will continue through this phase 1. We will continue to provide the YouTube movement videos. So again, for those of you that are working out at home still, I'll be providing those. So we will be doing, they'll be on YouTube every night, just like they have been. So that'll still be continued. And we will also be continuing with the CrossFit Kids Zoom classes twice a week. So we'll make sure that happens. Because again, they've been very, very popular. Kids have been loving them, and that's been great to see. So we'll keep doing that. And like I mentioned earlier, there will still be 1 Zoom class per day. So there will be a Zoom class in the morning that people can look back on and take throughout the day if they like, and if they don't want to come to the gym, that day or whatever the case may be. So that's the programming and the remote stuff. As far as equipment goes, when we have a date set, so when we have a date set to reopen, which again we'll communicate based off of New York's phase 1, 2, 3, 4, wherever we fall, all the barbells and bumper plates will be returned. So when we reopen, we'll give you guys, a 3, 4, 5 day window where we'll bring the equipment back in. We'll send out a cleaning protocol to make sure that you clean it before you bring it back in. It's wiped down. Everything is clean, good to go. And we're going to ask for all that back to make sure that there is things in the space to use. So again, all the barbells, all the bumpers will come back. The rest of the equipment, kettlebells, dumbbells, wall balls, jump ropes, all that stuff can stay checked out. And if you want to use it when you come into the space, you have to bring the equipment that you have checked out. We will have a couple of each item at the gym so that we do have some of them available for people to use, and you can bring it into your workout square. You'll clean it when you're done. We'll put it back, etc. But we're allowing people to keep those easy travel essentials for the remainder of phase 1. So for as long as we're in this first phase of reopening, we'll continue to allow you guys to have those, and you'll just have to bring them in with you if you wish to use them for the workout that you have selected the day that you come into the gym. And yeah, that's basically it. You'll bring anything with you that you want to use. So that's phase 1. I think it's everything I wanted to say. I probably missed some stuff. If you guys have questions, please reach out to me. So again, email me, tim@crossfitpalace.com. I'm more than happy to talk to you guys about any of this. If you have comments, if you have concerns, if you have an idea, anything like that, please don't hesitate to bring it up to me. Keep in mind, it might take me a couple days to get back to it because again, there's a lot going on here and there's a lot of thinking to do, communication, things like that. So it might take me a while to get back to you, but I will get back to you if you have, an idea or a concern, anything like that. So that's phase 1. Now, how long does that last? I have no idea. It will depend entirely on how all this goes. So again, we'll be constantly monitoring what's happening in our situation within our micro community of the gym, and we'll keep you guys updated. We don't know how long this will go on for. A lot of it depends on how long is social distancing being required. Is there, are there no active coronavirus cases in Tompkins County? Like there's a lot of things that go into how long this will last. But we'll be using all the facts that we have at our disposal to make sure that, we stay in this phase as long as it is safe and necessary, and we move out of it when it is safe and acceptable. Again, it can last, I honestly don't know. It can last anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months, and we may make small changes, to certain things within this, like schedule changes or, whatever the case may be, adding, things back on Saturday, whatever. But again, it's going to be very much in flux. So we will keep you guys updated, but we can't, I don't have a crystal ball and I can't tell you how long this will last. I can't tell you when things will change, etc. So that's phase 1. Again, I don't know when we'll move from phase 1 into phase 2, but a couple things that we have in mind for phase 2. As far as the schedule goes, we will maintain those smaller caps. So the class cap will still be 14 people, which is significantly less than our normal of 25. The schedule will be extended, so we'll be adding hours or hopefully adding in some group classes again. That'll be part of kind of phase 2, is switching from that open gym style schedule back to a more normal CrossFit class schedule. So the cap will remain, the schedule will potentially be expanded. We will not be offering Zoom classes anymore. So when we enter phase 2, there will be no more Zoom classes. And like I said, hopefully we'll be able to return to group classes, and they'll be probably 50-10 classes. So it'll be a 50-minute class, ensuring 10 minutes of cleanup, wipe down time, things like that. As far as the physical spaces go, all this will remain the same. The equipment layout, walkways, et cetera, everything that we talked about will remain the same, but we will reopen Pallas Fitness and we will be adding classes back into that space. So we'll be reopening the doors over there. As far as the staffing goes, a lot of the same concerns, same things we talked about earlier, nothing really different there. Again, maybe potentially moving to group classes again, but we'll still be coaching in blocks. So coaches will coach, those 2 or 3 hour sessions straight through. Cleanliness, nothing changes. Phase 2, we will likely be all of the same cleaning policies, maybe some things added depending on, again, how everything is going, but a lot of that will stay the same. As far as the programming and the remote operations go, this is a bit of a big change. So we will return to normal programming during phase 2. So we will go back to, programming classes on specific days during phase 2, because again, we'll be getting rid of Zoom classes. We'll be phasing out the home fitness part of our offerings. Again, phase 1 is very likely to last weeks or months. So, we'll be moving into phase 2. We'll be getting rid of the current programming that we're doing. We'll be getting back to a more normal programming, so what you guys are used to seeing, where their days are lined out more specifically. The CrossFit Kids Zoom classes will likely continue at that point, so we won't be bringing the CrossFit Kids back into the space just yet. And the YouTube videos and the one-on-one check-ins will be done. So during phase 2, the YouTube movement videos will not be done anymore, and the remote check-ins that we've been doing will be phased out as well. So those will be axed. And during phase 2, all equipment will be returned to the gym. So kettlebells, wall balls, jump ropes, everything that's been loaned out will come back in phase 2. So looking at phase 2. So first off, phase 3 is basically normal. So phase 3 is essentially hopefully going back to what we know now. But looking at phase 2, a lot of things will go into consideration when we move to this. Not only the precautions that are being given by local and state governments and the federal government, but also what our community is telling us. So, are the grand majority of our members comfortable returning to the space? Is almost everyone done working out at home? We'll be in contact with you guys to make sure that we're moving at a pace that not only makes sense to us as a business, not only adheres to the rules and guidelines that have been put out, but also we are doing what's best for you guys. So we're doing what's best for our members. Again, our main goal at the end of the day is to provide you guys value. And we want to make sure that, we only move into phase 2 when the grand majority of our community is comfortable and ready. So, when people are good to go in the gym again, they're comfortable leaving the house, things like that, that's when we'll move into phase 2. So I want you guys to really know that we won't take any of this lightly. And again, we don't want to deprive anybody of fitness or community or connection, any of those things. So again, we will do our absolute best to move from phase to phase when it is appropriate, given all factors, our community, health and safety, everything. So I think that's about all I've got. Thank you guys for watching the entire video. Again, it's really important that you kind of know where we're headed, what we're thinking. And again, if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, if you have any concerns, anything like that, please reach out to us. Again, email me, tim@crossfitpallas.com. I'm always here for you guys. But yeah, if you have any ideas or anything like that, like I said, please feel free to reach out. Other than that, that was a lot. I just want to say again, thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. Our gym has managed to fare this, situation relatively well on the grand scheme of things, especially considering a lot of gyms around the country closing to never reopen again, struggling to pay their bills, to, maintain any semblance of, their physical space or, potentially their business. And we consider ourselves, very lucky for the support that you guys have given us. We know that we've built a really strong community over the last 8 years, and we know that we try and care for our staff and for our community as best as we can. Every day in and day out, every minute of every class, and to see you guys support us so so steadfastly through this situation and through all of this is a real blessing, and it's incredibly heartwarming. So again, thank you guys from the bottom of my hearts, from the bottom of our staff's hearts. Thank you. So we will see you guys soon, and again, we will be in contact before too long.